Hi y'all, so today on the channel we're talking about two popular nouns, Mr. Beast and chocolate. Now, I'm not really a fan of Mr. Beast. I've personally never sat through a whole video. They get recommended to me all the time because he is the most subscribed individual on the platform and the highest paid YouTuber. He's making 54 million is what he made in 2021, and he often makes videos that are philanthropy related. He started posting videos to YouTube at the age of 13 and now has now it's 143 million subscribers and more than 14 billion views. I'm sure there's more than that now too. He is among the top 40 of Forbes Celebrity 100, earning more than some stars across entertainment. So yeah, he's huge. Look at some of his videos here. It's just him throwing money around, and that's his brand. So anyway, point of this, we got this new brand of chocolates he's got in the world now from the brand Feastables, and they're in Walmart and making a lot of money. So I was looking at them and I see he's got cookies, he's got a bunch of different bars, these nuts, and as a vegan and someone who cares about choosing ethical products, I looked up his chocolate brand on the internet to see if he was using ethical chocolate, because in chocolate there's a problem with child labor and slavery in the industry, and it grows primarily in the tropical climates of Western Africa, Asia, and Latin America. The cacao bean is more commonly referred to as cocoa. Western African countries, mostly Ghana and Ivory Coast, supply about 70% of the world's cocoa. Cocoa they grow and harvest is sold to a majority of chocolate companies, including the largest in the world, and that includes Hershey's, Mars, and Nestle. And the industry has a direct connection to the worst forms of child labor, human trafficking, and slavery. So, if you go to Food Empowerment Project's chocolate list, you can find where they contact companies that make vegan products containing chocolate to find out if they are getting their chocolate from those areas. And they're always updating the list as they receive responses. When they contact the companies, they ask about the vegan chocolates, and they do their best to provide accurate information, and they encourage you to read the ingredients. But yeah, if you look for Feastables on their list, go to F, you're not gonna see Feastables. So I thought, okay, maybe they just haven't contacted them yet. I'm sure they'll get around to it, because they don't have them on any portion of the list, even the ones that they don't recommend it. But searching around, I was seeing that they are using the Rainforest Alliance, which is the same partner as Hershey's, and they're both currently facing lawsuit related to child labor. So until Feastables comes forward with proof that they're not using child labor, I I really think it isn't good to support them and give Mr. Beast more money. He's supposed to be a philanthropist, yet his chocolate isn't proven to not be coming from child slavery, and that is a big problem. I mean, if your whole brand is going to be that you're, a good guy, cares about people, maybe make sure your chocolate isn't coming from slavery. I mean, that would be the philanthropic thing to do. So we'll see if he can address that. Because it makes me so angry. So I just thought I'd make a video about this because I haven't really seen people talking about it, and even chocolates that are certified fair trade. The truth is that as consumers today, we have no sure way of knowing if the chocolate we buy is involved in slavery or child labor. Between a quarter and a third of all cocoa is grown under a certification label, such as various fair trade certifications in the Rainforest Alliance. Certification, however, is no single label can guarantee that the chocolate was made without the use of exploitive labor. The third-party inspectors for these certifications are usually only required to visit fewer than 10% of cocoa farms. Moreover, audits are usually announced in advance, which enables farmers to hide evidence of rule violations. These inspections have made child labor more hidden while remaining just as prevalent. Some certifiers even claim their standards for labor practices do not come with a guarantee that they are being met. One certifier said, "There is no guarantee. We don't use the word guarantee." In 2010, the founders of the fair trade certification process had to suspend several of their West African suppliers due to evidence that they were using child labor. Additionally, in 2011, a Danish journalist investigated farms in Western Africa where major chocolate companies buy cocoa. He filmed illegal child labor on these farms, including those certified by the now merged certification bodies, UTZ and Rainforest Alliance. Another advocate found trafficked children laboring on fair trade certified cocoa farms in the Ivory Coast as recently as May 2017. UTZ has rules against child labor, but its co-sponsored reports in 2013 and 2017 that found that child labor was even more prevalent on UTZ-certified farms in the Ivory Coast than other farms. Children on UTZ-certified farms were also more likely to be engaged in hazardous tasks, such as working with agricultural chemicals and machetes. An author of one of the UTZ-sponsored reports said consumers believe that by buying certified cocoa, they are doing something good for the environment or children or farmers, but that is a fiction. Charity Ryerson, a co-founder of a corporate accountability nonprofit, said she found little evidence when visiting cocoa farms in the Ivory Coast that anyone was making sure certified farms were complying with standards. She described how a requirement for clean bathrooms was checked off on the evaluation checklist even though none of the farms had bathrooms. Ryerson added, "From our experience talking to farmers, it was clear that certification meant almost nothing. It's an open secret in the Ivory Coast that no one checks the certified farms for compliance." So, Brazil is the least certified cocoa country, but the situation with its certifications is very similar to that of Western Africa. A member of the ILO report team said that companies will show perfect reports, but in fact they are only documents. They don't represent the real thing, what really happens when we are not looking. It is not an accident that certifications fail to improve labor conditions in the cocoa industry because certifiers compete with one another. They often lower standards or enforcement in order to attract clients. So, yeah, it's just read on, and it's just terrible. The certifications do little to address the root cause of child labor and slavery in the industry and the absence of a living income for cocoa farmers. A living income is the income a household needs to earn in order for its members to afford food, water, housing, healthcare, education, clothing, transportation, emergency funds, and other essential needs. Almost no cocoa farmers in Ghana or the Ivory Coast make a living income. Uh, most certified cocoa farmers also still live in poverty. And yeah, it's just, in 2020, Hershey's bought approximately 30,000 tons of cocoa on exchange in order to avoid paying this extra price. Within their 103 billion per year industry, chocolate companies have the power to end the use of child labor and slave labor by paying cocoa farmers a living income for their product. That's the bottom line. They have all this money, all these billions of dollars they could pay to get fair trade chocolate, but they always make this excuse that it'll raise the prices a little bit because they're greedy capitalists. But there's chocolate you can buy that has been checked out by Food Empowerment Project, and they recommend it, and it doesn't cost that much more. Like, if a chocolate is going to cost $1 more, I think it's worth it to not give more money to these greedy corporations that are profiting from child slavery. So, yeah, Mr. Beast, correct the problem. Make sure your chocolate is ethical, and it would be very philanthropic of you. That's all.